I was working another 12-hour day in my in-laws shop when my mother-in-law smiled and said, "We really don't need you anymore." I laughed until she added, "You've just been helping out." I stared at her. I ran everything. That's when I stopped fixing their problems and started watching them fall. I stayed late that night, even after everyone left. The shop was quiet, except for the hum of the overhead lights and the smell of sawdust that never really went away. I sat at the desk I had been using for years. Invoices open. Emails half answered. Schedules mapped out weeks ahead. Everything ran through me. Every order, every client, every supplier. Every delay fixed before it became a problem. And somehow, I was just helping out. I stared at the screen for a long time. Then I closed everything. Not deleted. Not destroyed. Just closed it. That was the first thing I changed. The next morning, nothing looked different. Graham was already in the workshop. His dad nearby, sanding a table like always. Denise was on the phone, putting on that warm, polished voice she used for clients. I sat down at the computer and waited. 10 minutes passed. Then 20. Usually, by then, I would have already flagged 3 issues and fixed at least one mistake before anyone noticed it existed. This time, I did nothing. An email came in, marked urgent. A client asking about a delivery that was already 2 days behind. I knew exactly what happened. The supplier had shipped the wrong size panels. It was sitting in the back, waiting to be corrected. I read the email. Then I marked it unread. Denise came in not long after. She glanced at me, then at the screen. "Did you see that message?" she asked. "Yeah," I said. "And?" I shrugged. "I haven't gotten to it yet." She paused, like that answer didn't fit into her understanding of me. Then she nodded slowly and walked away. I watched her try to handle it herself. She called the supplier, got the details wrong, mixed up the order numbers, and ended the call more frustrated than when she started. Normally, I would have stepped in quietly, corrected everything, and made it look like nothing ever went wrong. This time, I just listened. By the end of the day, the client had called twice more. Graham looked stressed. His dad was irritated. Denise kept checking the system like it had suddenly become unreliable. Nothing was broken. I just wasn't holding it together anymore. That became my routine. I stopped reminding them about deadlines. I stopped reorganizing their mistakes before they surfaced. I stopped answering emails at midnight to keep everything smooth. And slowly, the cracks started to show. It wasn't dramatic at first. Just small things. A missed delivery here. A confused client there. A supplier getting annoyed over unclear orders. But those small things stacked up fast. Graham noticed first. "Why are things getting backed up?" he asked one night while we were eating. "I don't know," I said. "Maybe there's just more work." He didn't believe that. I could tell. But he also didn't push further. He never really did. Denise started watching me more closely, noticing what I wasn't doing instead of what I used to do. One afternoon, she walked up behind me and said, "We've noticed a drop in quality lately." I turned and looked at her. "Since when?" "Since you started focusing on your own projects," she said. I almost smiled. "You mean since I stopped working for free?" Her expression hardened immediately. "That's not fair," she said. "Isn't it?" I asked. She didn't answer that. Instead, she said, "We've always treated you like family." That word again. Family. It sounded different every time she said it. Like it only applied when it benefited her. I went home that night and sat in my small office. The one I had slowly been building up over the past few months. My own system. My own clients. My own work. It wasn't big yet, but it was mine. No one could take credit for it. No one could erase me from it. That was the second thing I changed. I started saying yes. A client I had worked with before reached out, asking if I could handle a project directly. I stared at the message for a long time. I knew what it meant. I knew what line it crossed. I said yes anyway. That one project turned into 2. Then 3. Then referrals. People remembered me. Not the business. Me. They remembered who answered their messages, who fixed their problems, who kept things moving when everything else felt stuck. I didn't advertise where I came from, but I didn't hide it either. Meanwhile, things at the shop kept slipping. Orders got delayed. Clients got frustrated. Graham started staying later. His dad started snapping more. Denise stopped smiling as much. The business wasn't collapsing. It just wasn't being carried anymore. The day it all came to a head was quiet. No yelling. No scene. Just Denise standing in front of me, holding a printed email. "This client says you've been working with her directly," she said. I looked at the paper, then back at her. She reached out to me. "You didn't think to tell us?" I paused. "No," I said. Her voice dropped lower. "That's our client." I shook my head. "Not anymore." That was the moment everything changed. Graham didn't say anything at first. He just looked between us like he was waiting for someone else to fix it. He always did that. Later that night, he asked me why I was doing this. "I'm not doing anything," I said. "I'm just not doing everything for you anymore." "You could have handled this differently," he said. Maybe I could have. But I also think nothing would have changed if I did. A week later, I moved out. No big fight. No dramatic ending. I packed my things slowly, took what was mine, and left. The shop kept running. Just not like before. They lost clients. Not all of them, but enough to feel it. The kind of clients who cared about communication. Who expected things to run smoothly. Who didn't want to chase updates or deal with confusion. The kind I used to take care of. My business grew steadily. Nothing explosive. Nothing reckless. Just consistent work, clear expectations, and clients who knew exactly who they were dealing with. Me. Sometimes I think about those years I spent trying to fit into something that never really had space for me. Trying to earn a place that was never going to be given. And I wonder what would have happened if I walked away sooner. If I had chosen myself earlier. But then I look at what I built from all of it. Every late night. Every ignored idea. Every moment I felt invisible. And I realize. They didn't lose everything because of me. They lost the version of their business that depended on someone they refused to see. I didn't destroy it. I just stopped saving it. And for the first time in a long time. That feels enough. The first client I took wasn't supposed to matter that much. I told myself it was just one project. Just helping someone who trusted me. But the second I said yes, I knew something had shifted. Her name was Melissa. She had been ordering from the shop for years. High-end projects, clean taste, very specific about timelines. She didn't message the business. She messaged me. I don't know what's been going on over there lately, but you're the only one who ever keeps me updated. Can you just handle this one directly? I stared at the message for a long time. Then I typed back. Yeah, I can. That was it. No big decision. No speech. Just a quiet line crossed. I handled everything myself. Design coordination. Timeline. Supplier communication. Delivery. No confusion. No delays. No chasing updates. She paid without hesitation, and then said something that stayed with me. I forgot how easy this used to be. Used to be. That word stuck. Because nothing about the work had changed. Just who was doing it. Back at the shop, things were getting worse. Not all at once. Not obvious if you weren't paying attention. But I was. Orders started overlapping. Delivery dates got mixed up. Graham would come in earlier and leave later. Walter stopped talking as much, and when he did, it was shorter. Sharper. Denise smiled less. She started double-checking things constantly. Opening the system, refreshing emails, printing out orders like she didn't trust what she was seeing. One afternoon, she called out from the front office. Lauren, did we confirm the Simmons order for Friday? I didn't even look up. You'll have to check, I said. She paused. You usually handle that. I kept my voice calm. Not anymore. There was a silence after that. The kind that sits in the room and makes everything feel heavier. Later that day, I heard her on the phone trying to fix it. Hi, yes, I just wanted to confirm your delivery for Friday. Pause. No, that can't be right. Longer pause. I closed my eyes for a second. Because I knew exactly what happened. The order had been moved 3 days earlier to avoid a supplier delay. I had fixed it last week. But I hadn't reminded anyone this time. I just let it happen. That night, Graham came home exhausted. He dropped his keys on the counter harder than usual. What's going on? He asked. I looked up from my laptop. What do you mean? Things are slipping, he said. Orders are off. Clients are calling more than usual. I nodded slowly. Maybe there's just more work. He shook his head. No, this feels different. He looked at me longer than usual, like he was trying to figure something out. You've been pulling back, he said. I didn't answer right away. I've just been focusing on my own work. What work? I hesitated just enough for him to notice. Just some freelance stuff. He didn't like that answer. I could tell. But like always, he let it sit instead of pushing further. That was his pattern. Avoid until it forces you not to. Over the next few weeks, my phone didn't stop buzzing. Melissa referred me to someone else. Then another client reached out. Then someone I didn't even recognize said, your name came up from a project a while ago. Every message felt the same. Relief, that they were talking to me directly. Not the business. Me. Meanwhile, the shop felt tighter every day. Less talking. More tension. Denise started asking me questions she used to assume I already handled. Did we follow up on this? Did we confirm that? Did we send the invoice? Every time I gave the same answer. You'll have to check. At first, she tried to stay polite. Then it started slipping. You used to stay on top of this, she said one afternoon. I turned to face her. I used to do a lot of things. She didn't respond to that. But I saw it in her face. That shift. The realization that something wasn't coming back. The real turning point didn't happen at the shop. It happened at a coffee place downtown. Melissa introduced me to another client. A contractor working on multiple new builds. He shook my hand and said, I've heard you're the one who actually keeps things running. I almost laughed. I just make sure things don't fall through, I said. He nodded. That's exactly what we need. We talked for almost an hour. By the end of it, I had 3 potential projects lined up. Real money. Not side money. Not temporary. Something real. When I walked out of that coffee shop, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Clear. Like everything that had been building quietly finally made sense. I wasn't just helping anymore. I was building something. My own thing. And it didn't depend on being accepted. Back at the shop, Denise was waiting for me. She didn't say hello. She held up a printed email. This client says you've been working with them directly, she said. I looked at the paper, then back at her. She reached out to me. Her voice tightened. That's our client. I shook my head slowly. You don't own people. Her expression hardened. This is unethical, she said. That word again. I stepped closer. What's unethical is working someone for years and pretending they don't exist. Her face went still. For a second, I thought she might actually hear me. Then she shook her head. You're being emotional. That was it. That was the moment something fully shut off in me. Not anger. Not even hurt. Just clarity. I nodded once. Okay. And I walked past her. That night, I sat in my office again. My laptop open, messages coming in one after another. I wasn't chasing anything anymore. It was coming to me. Not because I took something from them, but because I had been the reason things worked in the first place. I thought about everything I had done there. Every fix. Every late night. Every time I made them look like they had everything under control. And I realized something simple. They didn't build a system. They built a reputation. And I was the one holding it up. I didn't need to tear anything down. I just needed to stop holding it together. And now, everyone was starting to notice. The first time a client chose me over them in front of them, everything changed. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was quiet in the worst way. Melissa walked into the shop on a Thursday afternoon. I was at the desk. Graham was in the back. Walter was working on a table. Denise was near the front, organizing samples. Melissa smiled when she saw me. Hey, I was hoping you were here, she said. Denise stepped forward immediately, putting on that polished voice. Of course, Melissa. What can we help you with? Melissa glanced at her, then back at me. Actually, I wanted to talk to Lauren. The room shifted. You could feel it. Denise's smile held, but it tightened at the edges. I'm available, she said. Melissa shook her head gently. I really prefer to work directly with Lauren, if that's okay. Silence. I could hear the faint sound of sanding from the back. Stop completely. Denise let out a small laugh. Lauren just assists with coordination, she said. We handle all projects through the business. Melissa didn't move. I understand, she said. But I've worked with Lauren before, and things went smoother. I'd rather go through her. That word again. Rather. It hung in the air like something fragile and dangerous. Denise turned to me. Lauren, can you give us a second? I stood up slowly. No, it's fine, I said. She can talk to me here. That was the first time I didn't step back. Denise's expression changed. Not loud. Not explosive. Just colder. Melissa pulled out a folder and started explaining the project. Custom dining set. New build. Tight timeline. Everything I already knew how to handle. I asked questions. Clarified details. Gave her a timeline that actually made sense. Simple. Clear. No confusion. Denise tried to interrupt twice. I kept going. At the end, Melissa nodded. That's exactly what I needed, she said. Then she looked at Denise. So should I just coordinate with Lauren directly? Another silence. Longer this time. Denise forced a smile. Well, we usually. Melissa cut in gently. I think I'll just work with Lauren. And that was it. No argument. No scene. Just a decision made in front of everyone. Melissa left. The door closed. And the air in the room felt heavier than anything I had experienced there before. Denise turned to me slowly. What was that? I met her eyes. A client choosing how she wants to work. This is our business, she said. I nodded. Then act like it. That hit. I could see it in her face. Not because of what I said, but because, for the first time, it wasn't something she could control. Walter walked in from the back. What's going on? Denise didn't answer right away. She just kept looking at me. Then she said, she's taking clients. Walter looked at me. Are you serious? I didn't raise my voice. I'm not taking anything. People are coming to me. That's not how this works, he said. I tilted my head slightly. Then how does it work? No one answered that. Because the answer had always been simple. It worked because I made it work. And now, I wasn't. That night, Graham didn't wait until dinner. He stopped me in the hallway. Are you trying to hurt them? I stared at him. Is that what you think? I don't know what to think anymore, he said. Clients are asking for you. My parents are stressed. The shop is falling behind, and you're just... He stopped himself. Just what? I asked. He ran a hand through his hair. You're acting like you're not part of this anymore. That one sat between us. Because it was true. I took a breath. I was never really part of it. He shook his head immediately. That's not fair. I let out a small laugh. No. What's not fair is working like I mattered and being treated like I didn't. He didn't respond to that. Instead, he said, "You could have talked to me." I looked at him for a long moment. I did. You just never chose anything. That hit harder than anything else. I saw it in his face. That realization, that silence is still a decision. The next few days were tense in a way that couldn't be ignored anymore. Denise stopped pretending. No more polite tone. No more passive comments. She watched everything I did. Every email. Every call. Every movement. Walter barely spoke to me at all. Graham stayed quiet. And the shop kept slipping. Another delayed order. Another confused client. Another moment where something small turned into something bigger because no one caught it early. Except this time. I didn't step in. Then came the email. Not to me. To them. From a longtime client. We've decided to move forward with another provider going forward. We need clearer communication and more consistent timelines. I saw Denise read it. I saw her shoulders drop slightly. That was new. Not anger. Not control. Just something heavier. Loss. She printed it out and set it on the desk in front of me. "Do you see what you're doing?" she said quietly. I looked at the paper, then back at her. "I'm not doing anything." Her voice tightened. "You're letting this happen." I held her gaze. "No. I'm just not stopping it." That was the truth. Simple. Uncomfortable. Final. That night, I packed slowly. Not rushed. Not emotional. Just done. I folded my clothes, took my laptop, gathered my notes, everything I had built quietly over time. Graham stood in the doorway, watching me. "You're really leaving?" I didn't look up right away. Yeah. For a second, I thought he might say something that would change things. Something real. Something that wasn't neutral. But he didn't. He just stood there. So I zipped the bag, walked past him, and left. No slam. No tears. Just a door closing behind me. And for the first time, it didn't feel like I was losing anything. It felt like I was finally walking out of something that was never mine. And whatever happened to them after that wasn't something I was responsible for anymore. The first morning I woke up without that shop, it was quiet in a way I wasn't used to. No emails waiting for me before I even opened my eyes. No missed calls from Denise. No pressure sitting on my chest before I even got out of bed. Just silence. I sat there for a minute, staring at the ceiling, trying to figure out why it felt so strange. Then it hit me. Nothing was about to fall apart. Not because I had already fixed it, but because it wasn't mine to fix anymore. That realization settled slowly. Not relief, exactly. Something steadier than that. I made coffee, opened my laptop, and checked my own inbox. Messages from clients. Confirmations. New inquiries. Follow-ups. All for me. No one else's name attached. No one else taking credit. No one else speaking over me. Just me. And for the first time, it didn't feel like I was stepping into someone else's space. It felt like I was finally standing in my own. The work grew naturally. Not explosive. Not chaotic. Just consistent. Melissa brought in more projects. The contractor from the coffee meeting followed through with 2 builds. Then 3 more came through referrals. People kept saying the same thing. "It's just easier working with you." Clear communication. Real timelines. No chasing updates. The same things I had been doing for years. Just without being erased this time. I didn't think about the shop much at first. Not out of anger. More like distance. Like something I had already moved past. But then I started hearing things. Small at first. A supplier mentioning delays. A client asking if I was still connected to them because things felt off. Then Kevin called me one afternoon. "Haven't heard from you in a while," he said. "Yeah, I've been busy with my own work." He paused. Figured. Then he added, "They've been messing up orders lately. Sending the wrong specs. Calling back to fix things that should have been caught early." I didn't say anything. He let out a small breath. "You used to keep that place tight." Used to. That word again. I thanked him for the call and hung up. I sat there for a second, just staring at the screen. Not satisfied. Not guilty. Just aware. A few weeks later, I ran into Rachel at a cafe downtown. She smiled when she saw me. "I was actually hoping I'd run into you," she said. "I haven't heard back from the shop in days." I nodded slowly. "I'm not working with them anymore." Her expression shifted. "That makes sense," she said. Then, after a pause, "Things feel different over there." I didn't ask what she meant. I already knew. Before she left, she said, "If you're taking projects, I'd rather work with you directly." I gave her my information. Another quiet shift. Another piece falling into place. The moment that stayed with me the most came later. Denise showed up at my door. No call. No warning. I opened it, and for a second, we just stood there, looking at each other. She looked tired. Not the polished, controlled version of her I was used to. Something heavier. "Can we talk?" she asked. I stepped aside and let her in. She didn't sit right away. She walked around the room like she was trying to understand it. Your place is nice, she said. I didn't respond. After a moment, she turned to me. We've lost clients. I waited. Not all, she added quickly. But enough. Her voice was steady, but there was something underneath it. Something she wasn't used to showing. Struggle. You were a big part of how things ran, she said. I let that sit. Then I said, I know. She nodded slowly, like that answer confirmed something she had been avoiding. We can fix this, she said. You can come back. We can work something out. There it was. Not an apology. Not acknowledgement. Just an offer. I looked at her for a long time. Then I shook my head. No. Her expression tightened slightly. Why not? Because nothing actually changes, I said. She frowned. That's not true. I held her gaze. You didn't come here to say I mattered. You came here because things are falling apart. That hit. She didn't deny it. For a second, I saw something real in her face. Not control. Not dismissal. Just understanding. Then it closed again. This doesn't have to end like this, she said. I nodded. It already did. She stood there for a moment longer, like she wanted to say something else. Then she didn't. She walked out the same way she came in. Quiet. No drama. Just a door closing. After that, I didn't hear from them again. The shop is still open, from what I know. Still running. Just smaller. Slower. More fragile. They didn't collapse. They just lost the version of their business that worked without effort. The version I had been holding together. My business kept growing. Steady. Predictable. Mine. No chaos. No scrambling. No constant fixing. Just work that made sense. And people who actually saw me doing it. Sometimes I think about those years. About how long I stayed trying to fit into something that never had space for me. Trying to earn recognition that was never coming. And I don't feel angry about it anymore. I don't even feel regret. Because everything I built came from that. Every system. Every instinct. Every decision. It all came from learning what happens when you give everything and get nothing back. I didn't take anything from them. I didn't destroy their business. I didn't sabotage anything. I just stopped being the person who made it look like everything worked. And when that stopped, everything else followed. The truth is, they didn't lose me in one moment. They lost me slowly. Every time they spoke over me. Every time they took credit. Every time they called it family instead of work. And by the time they realized what I actually was to that place, I was already gone. Now, when I sit in my own space, answering my own clients, building something that has my name on it, I don't feel like I won. I feel like I finally stopped losing. And if I'm being honest, that's enough.